Cavin and Elizabeth, your go-to for wedding content, and today I'm going to be reacting to Alexandra Daddario's wedding in New Orleans. So the other week I did a reaction to Sophia Bush's wedding and you guys really liked that. So today I'm going to be showing you Alexandra Daddario's wedding from earlier this summer. Super beautiful, laid back wedding in New Orleans. I really love it. There's a lot of things going on with culture and history, so I want to dive in and show you guys this wedding. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So Alexandra met her fiance Andrew Form earlier in the beginning of COVID, and then they ended up getting engaged in August of 2021. So they got married in New Orleans. They originally wanted to get married in Italy, but she ended up getting a job in New Orleans and was really inspired by the life and music and culture there. I think this was a really great choice for them because you're gonna see a lot of the history that they infused into their wedding and really laid back vibes that I think carry through the entire wedding. I really love this. I want to show you guys everything about this wedding because I think there's so many great details. So first off, these photos were taken by Santos. They did a really great job on these photos. I think they're really a perfect fit visually for the vibes that she was going for. So she got ready. It looks like she might have gotten ready by herself. We don't really have any photos of anybody else around her for getting ready, so I'm not really sure, but I'm kind of surprised that she did choose to get ready in the hotel robe and she didn't have some sort of like cute vintage robe, but it does seem like overall she kind of kept things pretty simple. But anyway, she chose a pretty natural makeup look for her day. I love the eyeshadow color. I love the lip color. Super beautiful. Love it. She had a really beautiful updo for this wedding. Let's talk about her dress. This dress is a Daniel Frankel dress. Daniel Frankel's dresses are very much non-traditional for a typical bridal look in the USA. They're a little bit French to me. They're very like silky, lots of unique and details to them. So if you're not familiar with Daniel's dresses, definitely go take a look. But this one is very beautiful. Her dresses I think range usually from $4,000 to $13,000. I'm not sure if this is custom because Alexandra did not say anything about having a custom made dress. So I'm not super sure on that, but this one is a really beautiful, unstructured silk and lace dress with a soft scoop neckline. You're gonna see that there's a lot of movement to it in these pictures, but it's got nice pleated silk on it. Really love this dress. I think it fits perfectly for the laid back vibe she was going for. It definitely gives me very much like vintage nightgown vibes, and I mean that in the best possible way. I think it's a really cool dress, really non-traditional for a lot of the wedding dresses that I see. So for her veil, she chose the pleated silk veil from Daniel Frankel. I believe this is a $1,200 veil. Definitely on the higher end of veils, but you could definitely go higher, but I think this is a really beautiful veil for her. Now let's talk about Andrew's outfit. He chose a pinstripe suit from Brunello Cucinelli, and this just screams Southern summer to me. I think that this is just the perfect suit for him for New Orleans. It just fits New Orleans vibes for me, like in the summer so much. It's got that Southern formality to it without being like a formal suit or tuxedo. And his sons chose complementary suits in the same color but without the pinstripes. They just look super cute. I love this look on them, and I love this backdrop in the hotel that they got ready in. I am obsessed with this wallpaper, and I think that it's just the most like iconic thing ever. For her flowers, she had roses, some peonies in here, and little pops of greenery. She chose a very classic, traditional, very simple color palette of just ivory and green for her wedding. So again, really laid back, really simple, nothing too crazy or fancy going on for her day. Now, let's talk about everything related to their first look. They had their first look indoors. She chose to wear her veil for it. I have a video all about like when to wear your veil. I will link it down below, but when it comes to your first look, there is no right or wrong answer. You can either wear your veil for your first look or not wear your veil. It doesn't really matter. It is totally up to you whether you want to have it in the most pictures as possible or not. As far as the sons being included in the first look, I normally tell my couples to have their first look be just the two of them, and of course the photographers, maybe the videographers, but nobody else around, because you want this to be a very private moment with nobody interrupting it. But I will say that if there's going to be people around, having the children is not a bad idea, because I think that is really sweet to include them. And it looks like they definitely included the sons in the first look, which I think is really cute. I love like the little son being in the background and his little smile on his face. So I think that is really sweet, but I would not have anybody else around because you don't want anybody being in there for that private, sweet, serene moment. Okay, so this photo I think is a really cool photo. I love their kind of serious look on their faces, but I love that this photo is a little bit more dim because it really allows you to see all the detail on her dress. So you can really see how that lace carries from her straps down into her dress and goes all over the dress, but it's not totally covering it. So you get to see a lot of silk in her dress, and the pleating on it is just so well done. And it is unstructured, but it is still cut in a way that allows you to see her beautiful curves in her waist. And that to me is really important in a dress. Unless you just want your dress to be totally shapeless, I think allowing it to see your waist is a really beautiful detail. So after the couple took some portraits, they headed over to their ceremony site, which was called Preservation Hall. And this venue is just chock full of beautiful little details from around New Orleans, lots of pictures, all kinds of things for the guests to really see and immerse themselves in New Orleans history and culture. And that was something that was really important to her when selecting a venue. And this was just a really beautiful space that did not need a lot of decor to go around the walls. You don't want to stuff it full when it's already really a busy space because it would be too overwhelming. I love this picture of the boys helping her into the ceremony site. I think it's a really cute photo to share. Now in the venue itself, there are again lots of details going around, lots of things for guests to see. And when it came to their flowers for their aisle, they had a couple of little aisle arrangements and they were kept pretty simple. They were kind of lush. It had roses and baby's breath and some other couple flowers in there too. And I really like that they didn't go too crazy on the aisle because again, you can see in the background, there's a lot going on in this space. There's also lots of columns. It's just kind of a busy venue to begin with. So you don't want to stuff it too full because it would be really overwhelming for the space. So I think with the color palette being simple and not having too many flowers going on around the aisle, I think they did a really good job of really emulating that laid back vibe that she was going for. And so when it came to the aisle itself, I really want to talk about the fact that she walked herself down the aisle and she had nobody else walking with her. And this is something that I'm seeing more of these days, and that is giving yourself away and not having anybody else give you away. Some brides are walking themselves down the aisle because they don't want to have anybody else give them away because that's not something that they're okay with. Some brides simply just don't have a figure in their life, whether somebody passed away or they don't have a great relationship with them, and that is why they choose to walk alone down the aisle. So if you don't want to walk with anybody else down the aisle, do it by yourself. Don't worry about breaking tradition. You do you for your wedding. Okay, so now we get a look at the vow floral installation. This thing is quite abundant. So they did definitely go a little bit crazier here, but I still think because of the color palette, because of the flower choices, not having too many different flower variations here, I think it is still fairly laid back in a way. There's roses, there's baby's breath, and there's some other flowers that I can't tell what they are because the picture is not super big and the flowers are a little bit blurred in the background, but I really do like this. I think it's just very soft. It's very ethereal. It's very welcoming and inviting, and I really like it. Now, I will say this venue looks like it was a very challenging space to shoot in. It looks kind of dark. It looks like there's some overhead lights that might be really yellow. I do think as a photographer, this would have been quite challenging, but it looks like the photographer did a great job working in this space. So one thing I want to talk about, they did write their own vows, but I love that they did a second kiss at the end of the aisle to give their photographer a second chance to get another kiss photo. This is a great thing to do. So after you get to the end of your aisle, kiss again for a great photo moment. A New Orleans wedding would not be complete without a second line. That is when a band marches you through the town, and it has a great key element where usually the couple will have umbrellas. The bride usually has white, the groom usually has black, or if you are a same-sex couple, you could both have whatever colors you want, but it's a really iconic New Orleans thing to have for weddings or funerals, things like that. And I just love this photo of Alexandra. She's got her dress, lots of movement in it like I talked about earlier. Really amazing photos. I love all of these photos of the band marching through town, taking the guests from the ceremony to the reception space, which was a bar called Bar Marilou. And it's just really cool to have these photos. The second line is really cool to have for your wedding in New Orleans. Again, they were really focusing on music and celebration for this wedding. That was a key component for them to have. Lots of stuff going on to infuse New Orleans culture into their wedding. So once they got to the bar, it looks like they kept things pretty low-key, not a lot of decor here. They were really focusing on the celebration of the evening instead, but she she did have an outfit change. She did not give any details about who designed this dress, so if you recognize this dress, please leave it down in the comments below who designed it. But it was a really cool like blush tulle little mini dress, and she had platform pumps that were pink. I love this outfit. It is so fun. I think it goes with the bar's aesthetics really well. But from these photos, I can say that they had a little bit of floral decor in it, and it was really beautiful, but not a whole lot going on. And it looks like most of the guests didn't really have a lot of formal tables. They just seemed to lounge around in the different lounge areas. There was a little bit of floral decor that I could see in the background, but overall it looks very laid back and casual. Their cake is very iconic. It looks like they were really invested in their cake, which is a 3-tier cake with what looks like sugar flowers on top. I think that these flowers are probably edible. You've got a sugar peony, sugar rose, and some sugar feathers on top. So overall, it looks like for their wedding, what was really important to them was the music, the celebration, the people, and it looks like they weren't really going for like an over-the-top, decor-heavy wedding, which I think is really cool for them, especially being celebrities. Again, I talked about my Sophia Bush wedding. Sometimes we, as people who aren't celebrities, expect celebrities to have these over-the-top, like decor-heavy, dripping weddings, and when we see weddings that aren't like that from celebrities, it's really refreshing because they're just like us sometimes, and sometimes what's important to certain celebrities is just the people, the celebration. For me, that's really inspiring. So for your wedding, maybe think about incorporating elements of the city into your wedding and incorporating what's really important, what you value into your wedding. Infuse your personality into it, infuse parts of the city and parts of the history of the city into your wedding. And I think that will really come through, and what's important to you will be reflected in what the guests see, and you will have an amazing wedding. So comment down below what your favorite part of this wedding is, and if you'd like to see more of these celebrity weddings, then I will see you guys next time. Bye!